John, great to see you. Thanks for agreeing to take part today. Pleasure to chat. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Global Smart Manufacturing Conference that's coming up later this month and the motivation of SEMI as an organization and you guys as part of the steering and management committee to bring this out. Tell me how it came about, first of all.
It actually started as a concept when we all met with the global representatives from the various chapters at SEMICON West 2019, okay? Mm-hmm. And I actually was the one to point out, we need to figure out a way to work together more globally as a team. In my role for INFICON, I travel the globe and go to many of these trade shows, SEMICONs all around the globe, and it just seemed a little disconnected. And so really, SEMI is a global organization. We need to pull together all of our disparate organizations that all have the same title, smart manufacturing, and do a better job of coordinating. So that was like, okay, how are we going to do that? And we did start coming up with the concept of common pillars or themes. You may have heard of the three pillars that we announced for SEMI globally as of January of this current year. That's the sensing, connecting, and predicting pillars we talked about. But then I'm like, well, that's great. We have a central talking points. We're still not working together. And then really after the kind of virtual aspect of SEMICON West, I think there was a realization that, well, rather than having another working group session that's North America session, let's bring it into more of a global activity. And in particular, Bobby Mitra, who is our chairman of our particular work group in North America, pointed out that we need to do more of an education job of trying to communicate to the whole world what it is about smart manufacturing that makes it warranted. What is the ROI? What are the case studies? So we really decided to go away from a classical, presentation format that you would see in a show, which unfortunately is often marketing-like, and instead make it more educational. So we've really gone through a tremendous amount of effort, as you may know, to break this talks into subject matter specific keynotes, kind of like the why do we need this from a subject matter expert, usually senior executive. Then we have a tutorial section from usually an academic, professor and the like, who's talking about the how and where it's going. And then we have tutorials, which are really industry experts that are trying to explain in real life scenarios and examples, and this is how doing these things have helped my company or another company. And so we're trying to kind of cover the gambit. And so I think it's the first time it's ever been done. We're really excited about it. And that's kind of the short answer, I guess, to your questions.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. And I like that idea of kind of outlining the why you need to do it and then sharing some experiences of people in terms of how they've done it and what they've got from it. And, when I look at the subheading on the website, you mentioned those three pillars, sensing, connecting, and predicting. But the bit that really got me was for capturing the ROI from the smart factory. And I think that's huge. And I think that's what takes it to the next level for many people. We've talked so much about smart factory industry 4.0. For some people, it's just a question of show me the money. Where's the dividend? Where's the ROI? Do you feel that some of the presentations, some of the discussions you've got in these sessions answer that question? They actually point to simple digital building blocks with real return on investment from them?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, so I'm the session chair of the predicting element of the three pillars, right? And I might be a little biased, but the predicting is kind of the holy grail where you put together the other elements to be able to really autonomously, if you will, make changes to a semi-automated or automated factory. And so we've got a number of really excellent case studies that will be shown that are very high ROI applications. I mean, there really is nothing with a higher ROI for a factory than to put in some of the more advanced new, digital modules, digital twins, scheduling, predictive maintenance. These things have very, very, very high, very fast ROIs. And I think largely there is actually more of a fear of the amount of effort that it will take to deploy such a system than maybe even the ROI. So we're trying to do both. We're trying to confirm that there's a really positive ROI, and then somewhat educate that this is not climbing Mount Everest. You know, this is really doable today, and it's not as hard as you might think. And so those are kind of the two goals, I would say, of the overall predicting session anyways.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think a lot of what we've seen with Smart Factory is that fear of being overwhelmed. So you don't even know where to start in terms of getting the factory connected quickly. You've maybe got legacy equipment, you've maybe got multiple locations, a big manufacturing ecosystem. It becomes very complicated, and you almost get a paralysis where people don't get started. So having those real paths is really important. You've got a great role of speakers, particularly keynoters, and I'm interesting that you've got people that are in the industry, people that are OEMs that buy from the industry, but you've also got people like Deloitte and other consultancies in there. How important do you think it is to have that mix of viewpoints and mix of stakeholders in an event like this?
No, it's a great observation, and I'm glad you saw that because it was deliberate. I mean, we really, I'll give Bobby credit again, but voices from everywhere, right? I mean, one thing about the semi industry is that it is clearly a leader in the area of, you know, technological innovation and integration, in particular things of this nature. But as we're maturing, you know, you find that you get kind of stuck. And so what we're really challenging the team is, you know, AI, for instance, is used much more heavily in banking and pattern recognition in other industries than it is in semi, as an example, okay? So I think what we realized was we really need to bring in some of these subject matter experts that can bring in the perspective from other fields and challenge our thinking. And so certainly folks like Deloitte and others who have a very strong global footprint are what we consider to be a real positive addition to this particular event. We'll see how it all works out, but certainly our intent was to deliberately open up the window, and it's a tough balance, right? Because you have to deal with the CFO that could be watching, you know, the engineer that could be watching who wants to know how to do something on the floor tool, and the IE manager and IT managers. So it's a very broad swath of the industry that we're trying to appeal to. And we're kind of crossing our fingers that it's going to turn out really nicely, but we certainly aren't going to fail for lack of trying. You know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you've got the right group to do that. So when you look at those personas that you expect to attend, you mentioned as broadly there as someone who's managing a line and someone who's the CFO of a large business. So you've got to appeal to a broad gamut. What are you looking to deliver when they come in and they've listened to the various sessions? What are you hoping they'll take away from the event?
I think really it is just two simple things. Smart manufacturing is real. It's not a gimmick. It's not one of these fads that's going to go away and that I can ignore. Okay?
Yeah.
Two, if I don't do it, I will no longer be competitive, and I will be at a competitive disadvantage in the marketplace.
Yeah.
I mean, I think those are the two messages that I would like to get across.
Yeah, and maybe the third is how to do it. You know, there's a roadmap there as well, which I think is hugely valuable because, when I look at it, that's the challenge. What's my first step? Is it connectivity? Is it getting those sensors in place? Is it, though the predictive analysis only comes when you've built all those foundations.
That's true.
For me, convince them to do it and just show them step one on the board so they can actually get off there and get moving. It looks like a great agenda, John. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to listening to your session. Thanks so much for chatting to me today. And I hope it's a very successful event. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for having me.